Today we're replacing our stock tires on our Roadrunner RS5 Max with these brand new ULIP dual tread tires. And they've got a self-healing gel that runs around the inside of the tire so you never have to get a flat, ever. So in this video, we're going to be going through and replacing our stock tires on our Roadrunner RS5 series scoot. And we're replacing them with these new dual tread tire designs from ULIP. These are pretty amazing tires. They're straight up road tread on the top, but a slightly off-road on the sides, which means incredible cornering and grip on a lot of different kinds of terrain. And it's got a trick up its sleeve. These guys on the inside have a self-healing gel that automatically repairs the tire while you drive, which means you never get flats, ever. Change your tire one time and that's it, you're done. So we can't wait to try these out and see just how they perform. I've done an entire series on scooter tire changes without having to use pry bars, and I'll leave that information in the links below, but this applies specifically to our Roadrunner RS5 Max series scooters, which have a 6.5 inch rim size as opposed to a 6-inch rim size like you see on most. So let's dive in and find out a bit more about how these are going to perform and see how our RS5 Max handles these new high-tech tires. I've already done a complete step-by-step video on how to change the smaller versions of these tires, the 6-inch rims. So we're going to use a lot of the same tools. We're going to use the clamps, but instead of the channel locks, we're going to use a C-clamp instead. This allows us to get a bit more reach and compress the larger 6.5-inch rim tires we'll be using today. We're going to be using a plastic spackle tool for the last part of the installation and just to pop the first bead. And then finally, we're going to be using WD-40's Specialist Silicone. This is not regular WD-40. It's important because this is safe for rubber. So really important here, it has to be safe for rubber to be used as a tire lubricant. First thing that we want to do is pull the fenders off. This just makes it a lot easier to manage the tire. You don't have to work around it. And they just come right off with these two screws here on each sides. The right side's slightly trickier, only because you've got the brake cable in the way. So you're probably going to have to push it out of the way just enough to get your Allen wrench in there. It's also a little easier if you remove the brake caliper and not the top part here. We don't want to readjust the brakes. We just want to take the entire housing all the way off. It's much easier and it keeps you from dinging up the rotors, and it's a lot easier to get the tire back on because you're going to have to really kind of reef on the tire a little bit and get these guys spread apart a little bit to get the tire back into position once it's been changed. So pulling the calipers just makes that a lot easier. From here you can just pop the little rubber lug nut covers off. These are just glued into place and they're pretty stout when they're first on. We have unglued them a couple times, and so ours are just held on there with spray glue. They work great for that, and it keeps them in place and it keeps you from losing them when you're riding. And then just reapply the glue on both sides to the nuts and to the nut covers when you reapply them, and they flip back on. And one of the really nice joys about working on the scooter is the motor release. This is just one quick disconnect. You simply unscrew it and you're good to go. So much easier. Once both sides of the lock washers have been loosened, it's just a light tap to have the motor itself come right out in your hands. And then from there, you're basically ready to take the rotor off, and then from there we can change the tire. With the wheel assembly completely removed from the scooter, it's time to deflate the tire, which allows us to break the bead off the rim easily, and then we can remove the brake rotor. And then pop it off the rim, off the bead. And these are such thin tires, it just pops right off, just like the other one. We're going to be working from this side, so we're going to be taking the rotors off. And you might have to heat these up if they have, you know, and if they give you a real difficulty, heat gun just to loosen up that Loctite. But these actually were pretty loose and came right off. Also make note of the tire's rotation on the rim itself. And then when we have the new tire, which we got right here, we'll look for the rotation indicator. It's always on one side, and this one rotates this direction. So nice thing about this is outside is always marked. So in this particular case, the outside faces the rotors. So that makes that process pretty simple. All right, just like before, we're gonna unmount the tire, and it's a little easier if we kind of get a little bit of this in there just to make it easier to slide off the rim. But these are, like I said, they're thin tires anyway, so they're already pretty easy to pop off once all the air has been completely taken out. And if you need to get them started, little plastic, and make sure it's plastic, this is important. Little plastic slider tool. This is actually just a spackling tool, but these are great to get off. So this little slider tool makes it pretty easy to get them started. You can just get it under the rim and then squeeze the bottom of the tire so it gets kind of into the channel, and then this just slides off like that, and then you can pull them off. So dismounting the tire is always easy because you have the whole space of the rim to do it on. Like before, we want to clean up the rim, make sure everything inside there is completely free of artifacts and all that stuff, and make sure that valve stem is in good shape. We did get an extra pair of them with our tires, so if you want a right angle valve stem, you can certainly use this one. These are pretty nicely recessed, but this might make it easier if you're trying to get a hand pump or something in there. So either way, it's up to you. They're in there if you need them. Once the rim is completely clean and we're ready to mount the tire, we're going to go ahead like the other one, and we're going to work on the rotor side just so that we don't chew up that back wire, that motor wire. And then just like before, we're going to grease a little bit of the rim here. This is going to be the first one on, so we'll grease that one up just to get that on. And the first one's always nice and easy. Doesn't have to go very far. So we'll just give the rim a little head start here, and the tire. We'll push those guys on. And like I said, these guys, because you have the entire rim, they literally just, push on a heartbeat. You hardly have to work at it. But of course, the last bead is always the most challenging. So just like before, we're going to start our process where we compress the tire, and we use our clamps to clamp it down. And the most important part of this process is when you clamp the tire down, you want to make sure that these two are the same distance apart. So when the clamp is on the tire, this is really the only trick to this whole process. When the clamp's on the tire, as you look in the tire, you want to make sure that the top and bottom bead, when they're in there, are exactly the same amount. One's not sticking way out and the other one's way back. The tire has to be symmetrical in that regard to be able to slip onto the rim in the first place. If you don't have a pair of channel locks that are big enough, like these are they're like almost big enough, not quite. You can also use a C-clamp to accomplish the same thing. Get it all the way out. Start on the very end of the tire. It's bead itself, right about there. A little more bead right there. And this will get you a real nice compression. And from there you can put the clamps right on. Got a little bit further. One thing about these larger 6.5-inch rim tires is they're bigger overall and quite a bit beefier, so it takes a bit more oomph to kind of get the first clamp on, but the rest go pretty easily once you get one on. And then just work your way around and put like 3 clamps. One here, one here, one here. We'll start the next spot right here. And same idea, you're just squashing the shit out of it. Clamp goes in its place, and then move on. And you can do it with 2, but it's easier to do with 3 because we need access to the entire depth of the inside of the motor's rim itself. So we'll do 1 more. Start it about here. And that should give us enough play all the way around the side. So, this is just kind of a balancing act to get, you know, as much compression as you need to be able to put the clamps on. And we'll get 1 more clamp. And then this guy just goes on to about here. And that should be enough to get what we need. And you really want to seat this against the bottom of that as much as you can, because that's really how the tire is going to get in there in the first place, is getting it seated as much on the bottom there. That will make that just a little slipperier. And we'll really lube everything in here one last time, both the inside and outside of the rim and the inside and the outside of the tire. And we'll just and as you can see, you can get it pretty close. You know, you could almost push it on, but you need that little last bit to kind of slide it over the edge. So from here, you just need to get enough, just like that. And then that just gets it on the bead. Then you can pull your clamps off. And then we're ready to seat the tire. And you want to give the tire a little bit of a chance to soften back up on the bead, because, you know, we've been cranking it over here quite a bit. So it's not a bad idea, you know, just to kind of get the tire in the ballpark. And this really helps it kind of seat all the way around just by kind of bending the tire, because the other side was really bent quite a bit. So this just helps it kind of sit more evenly around the rim. And all we're really doing at this point is just kind of balancing, you know, how the tire sits on the rim. So you can see it's a lot more evenly seated on the bead now. And from here, it's actually pretty easy just to pull it up onto the bead. We can do the same for the other side. And we're ready to inflate the tire. These tires take quite a bit more pressure than the stock tires. Stock tires are at about 30, 35 PSI. These guys take all the way to 50, 45 to 50. That's a pretty good ride for these guys. So we're going to go ahead and attach our air. If you have difficulty getting the bead to seat on the tire, you can use straps like we did in the previous video, but we didn't need to here. Once the tire is inflated, we can reassemble the rotor mechanism, and it's always a good idea to apply less pressure on these screws than you think you need to, as well as putting a little Loctite on them just to ensure they don't work their way loose. So all that's left now is to reconnect our motor wire here. So that's a quick and easy connection. And once that's made, we can secure the line with some zip ties and move on to the rotors. From here, we can reattach the brake rotor assembly and tune it up if we need to. Because these tires have a taller profile, we need to adjust the screws that our fenders attach with. So we need to get longer screws as well as small nylon spacers. So our original bolt that goes into the fenders is an M4 by 20, and it's a pitch of 0.70. So what we did was simply just go get a little bit longer version of that same exact screw over at our hardware store. Same Allen head and everything. And then we just got these little nylon spacers. They're about 1/4 of an inch. And they're just simply going to go between the fender and the screw itself. And we could only find them in white, so we just painted them with a black Sharpie pen. So from here, we just attach our new bolts and our little nylon spacers to the fender itself. And this just gets it up off the frame enough to clear the tire. And it keeps it really low profile, which is nice because it really helps keep the water from building up. And when we're done, it all snugs down and fits just like the original fender, but a little bit more space for the taller tire. The front tire is just a duplicate of the rear tire process, and it's made easier with those motor disconnects and special attention with those front fender screws that we changed out just like the rear ones. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys. If you learned something or if this was helpful in any way, please hit the subscription and notification bells. It really does help keep a young channel like this going. Get out, ride safe, have a great time. We'll catch you in the next video. Woo-hoo! Yeah! Rip it!